So yesterday I went to see Dune Part 2 in theaters. Now I was one of those who really liked Dune Part 1 in 2021. Yes, it was slow, but it was building to something monumental, something huge. And I couldn't wait to see it unfold because that movie was just the beginning of something massive. So with that in mind, I had huge expectations for Dune Part 2. I knew that the visuals were almost certainly going to deliver. But what about the writing? What about everything else that the first movie had established? How is this going to pull it off? But somehow, it did. It pulled it off. I dare say it was even better than Dune Part 1. At least maybe 2 times better. In fact, Christopher Nolan himself compares the movie to Empire Strikes Back, and I think that's very justified in many aspects. From its story structure, to how it's composed, to the cliffhanger. It's very interesting and very intricate and very detailed, and everything about it is so very well written and so very well executed. But why? Why is this movie so good? Why will Dune Part 2 go down as one of the greatest sequels to a sci-fi blockbuster in all of movie history? Well, there are a lot of reasons why, but today I'd like to discuss just one. The Psyche of Maud'dib. When you think about the Chosen One prophecy in fantastical or sci-fi movies, you think about Luke Skywalker or Anakin Skywalker. Now these characters strive to use their powers for good, until of course Anakin gets corrupted by the dark side. And Luke also gets tempted by the dark side, but he resists in the end. Now what makes those stories so compelling is that the heroes go through struggle. They are tempted by evil. And in Anakin's case, he doesn't even win against that evil in the prequels at all. Their significance draws the dark to them. The same thing happens to Paul Atreides. Paul is a very morally complex character, and in my eyes, he isn't really the hero of the story. He's the story's message. It's warning almost. At the end of Part 2, we see that his good intentions initially have arose into something darker, more sinister. And by the end, we're not really sure if we can call him our hero anymore. But he's not exactly our villain either. And this is where I really have to give credit to Timothée Chalamet's performance. He managed to capture the innocent, boyish charm of Paul in the first movie, but in the sequel, we see how his character transforms into a ruthless leader, and he portrays that side of him perfectly as well. And that's why I personally thought that both Dune movies ended at just the right spots. Part 1 ends with the birth of Maud'dib, and Part 2 ends with the rise of Maud'dib. Personally, I think that both movies handled this aspect very well. But Dune Part 2 expanded on it and made it far more compelling and interesting. I think that Part 3 will focus on this character finding a balance between Paul Atreides and Maud'dib. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I digress. My point is, this movie's character study of Paul Atreides was one of the most compelling bits of it, in my opinion.